He's been in there ever since.
Yeah. Now, the word happiness, we've brought it out a couple times here, and you believe that people have an obligation to be happy.
Yes.
Or at least to act happy.
Yes.
What's that all about?
I raised 4 kids, and I was really happy when they were happy. When I would hear my 4 little kids splashing in the soapy water of the bathtub and laughing uproariously as children will do, it made me happy. So it occurred to me one day that if God is our Father, that all we can offer him is our own happiness. He doesn't need a necktie on Father's Day. He needs us to be happy. So when you're happy, you make people happy around you. You tend to. Not everybody, because some people are so determined to be mad that they get annoyed if you're happy. But by and large, unhappy people spread unhappiness, happy people spread happiness. So if you can't really feel happy, act that way.
Act like it.
And after a while, it begins to work on you, and meanwhile, it works on other people.
Yeah.
You know, getting back a little bit to when you were talking about the conservative and the liberalism,
Yeah.
You supported McCain during the election, yet when Obama was elected, you were very elated about it. Tell us why.
I was more and more unhappy on election night as the results came in, and I thought, oh God, because I'd really gotten excited about Sarah Palin, and I thought McCain had run a dreadful campaign, but I hoped he'd win anyway. And the moment Obama was announced as elected, I felt an elation. I said, wow, this country has elected an African American, and most thoughtful people had thought maybe that was decades off. And I said, whatever else is true, that's true. Maybe this awful divide between the races will start to be over. Plenty of time later to worry about Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid and the appointment of judges I won't like. I'll worry about that later and I'll grumble, but for now, I am thrilled.
Yeah, I was actually in Africa at the time during the election, and happened to see the acceptance speech there in Grant Park, Chicago. And I want to tell you, you know, it brought tears to my eyes just to see an African American man. And you know, Michelle Obama and their kids up there, and to think what it means historically in our nation.
It's going to be the best-looking young family in the White House since the Kennedys, and it's going to be wonderful. Whatever else it's going to be, that's going to be wonderful. And he's a brilliant guy, so. You know, he's got what's his name, the preacher?
Jeremiah Rice?
No, not Jeremiah Rice.
Which other? Rick Warren. Rick Warren.
Rick Warren.
Yeah.
He's got Rick Warren speaking, and that's made the gay crowd all furious. But you know, they're going to be furious about something. So let it be that for a while. All my gay friends are, you know, they say, how can you this and how can you that? I say, how can you whatever you do? You know, it's all right with me.
Let's get on
Just don't frighten the servants. That's what I say.
Getting on to Mail from Mikey.
Yeah.
Again, pretty cutting edge, pretty raw. Not necessarily a profane language, but just the stories that you tell. It's kind of real, some real street stuff. But the premise of the story is there's some basis to this. You were actually a sponsor for a young man going through a 12-step program. Mikey
is a fictional character, but he represents some young people that I knew quite well when I was in a 12-step program. And I was trying to tell them, even in those days, that if they can't get on their knees and turn it over to a higher power, I didn't even call it God. I say it can be the ocean, it can be anything. And then little by little they get sucked in. And so what the narrator does is try to tell this young guy about his own experiences so that the young guy will learn something from it. And I've written it in a way that is deliberately a little on the raunchy side language-wise so that non-believers, it's for Christians to give to their non-believing friends. The book is selling remarkably well. I just got a check from the publisher, which astonished me. And she said, keep on doing what you're doing. But it isn't for Christians themselves, it's for Christians to give to their non-believing.
People that are searching, people that are kind of on the edges, and you know inside that they're looking for something. This kind of gives them a you know, rubber meets the road street version of, you know, this is what God is about, this is what Jesus is about, this is how he impacts a life.
I'll use that as my quote, rubber meets the road, Stefan.
You know, Orson, you're also part of an organization called Friends of Abe.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about what its purpose is?
It's Friends of Abe, as in
Friends of
Abe Lincoln.
Okay.
And it really hasn't gone public. But I don't think Gareth Sinise, who founded it, who is one of the most extraordinary human beings I've ever met in my life. He's a big star of the movies and television, and he is an immense supporter of the troops overseas. He is the Bob Hope of today. And he also is appalled by the stuff that's being churned out in the movies. And he has formed a group of people within the film industry, and there's now up to 700 or 800 of us who are not afraid to say we are the R word, Republican, and the C word, Christian, or whatever, even if it's Reagan Democrats who are angry about the hating of America that's portrayed in so many Hollywood movies and the violence and all of it. I grew up watching movies with real heroes in them, and they really helped me to survive an unhappy household that I was living in. When I saw Mickey Rooney as young Tom Edison and Spencer Tracy as Tom Edison and Ingrid Bergman as Marie Curie inventing, you know, this and that. I said, if they can do it, I can do it. Well, what do you say today when you come out of the movies? I don't want to do that, you know. And so Gary Sinise has formed this organization, and it's little by little growing and growing so that you won't be afraid to say within the film industry, I don't like the product that's being churned out.
On a person-by-person basis, though, there are people that are in the industry, you know, in front of the camera, behind the camera, that are kind of trending and tending towards a more conservative worldview. Is that correct?
When I guest on shows like 2.5 Men or Will and Grace, and I always find that the so-called creative people, the writers and the actors, are very much on the left. All those, more and more of those are quietly drawing a fish in the sand with a stick. But all of the so-called behind-the-scenes people, the grips, the cameramen, the sound guys, they tend to say, oh, you're really a conservative? Ah, how are you? I didn't know, you know. So they just keep quiet when the actors are blasting off about how terrible America is, you know, and they just quietly go about their business and do their jobs. But little by little, as I've said in the intro to my book, I was reading Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. Or right now, I just finished reading a wonderful book called The Reason for God by a pastor named Kenner. It's brilliant. And when I sit and read these, when I'm guesting on these shows like the Hallmark made-for-TV movie that I'm doing now, people do come around and say, oh, that's interesting. Let me see that. There is a need, and they don't even know what the need is.
Right, right. Well, Orson, we're going to pray for you and your family and for everyone in the Hollywood industry, in Broadway and film, theater, you know, regarding being sensitive and open to maybe exploring these truth claims of Christianity and see what changes happen. You know, I think change is in the air, right? We need change.
I hope so.
Change
and my book can be got on Amazon or, you know, Barnes & Noble's carrying it, or you can go on my website, orsonbean.com.
There you go. I want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, sir.
And if you'd like to connect with Orson, you can go to orsonbean.com, or you can visit our website, harvest-tv.com. Click on Show Info in the menu bar. Find an easy way to link to his website, and you're going to see this pretty stark book cover here, Orson Bean, Mail for Mikey. If there's someone in your life, maybe someone you work with, someone in your neighborhood, someone in your family, that's kind of looking around and you see that and sense that they're searching, this would be a good resource to put in their hands. We'll be right back.